Hello everyone! And now that we know how to create our first table, we will check now how to add some rules to our tables. These rules we call constraints, and these are one of the most common constraints that you can find in your database. The primary key, the unique, the not null, default, check, and the foreign key. I'll talk more about the foreign key in the next lessons when we talk about relationships. The first constraint is the primary key. The primary key means that this field will identify the entire row of the table. This field must be unique. All the primary keys are unique. You cannot repeat the value of a field that's a primary key in another rows of the table. And it's a good practice and very common to create a specific field to be the primary key. The second constraint is the unique. The unique also means that this field must be unique. The value cannot repeat in any other rows. The not null constraint means that this field must be filled. You cannot leave this field without value. The default is some kind of default value that will fill this field if the user do not provide any value. The check constraint is some kind of verification that will verify the value of the field before the insert. So that's a few examples of constraints that your database can provide you. Check your full documentation of your database to see the full list. And now, hands-on. The first thing I'll do is to drop the table that we created in the last lesson, the customers. So I will drop the table and it will do not exist anymore. If you can see the Postgres here, databases, Postgres, schema, public, tables, it's still here, but if we refresh, the table is not more here. So let's create the table again, now applying constraints to be some rules to our table. But before to create the customers table again, I want to show you a function called now. What are functions? Functions are specific commands that gives you some result. That's very important to have in mind. Functions always gives you a result. And the now function gives you the result of the current timestamp. Here, it's the current timestamp that you can see. That's what the now function does. Now, let's create the table customers again. Create table customers. As I said, it's a good practice to create a specific field to be the primary key. And I use the type serial because I don't want to be worried about if the user provide the field or if it's repeated. So I'll use the field serial because it's an auto-incremented number that Postgres provide to me. Name, that will be a text and not null. Email, that's also to be a text, not null, and unique. I don't want repeated emails in this table. And now the birth date. That's a date. And I will give to it a default value that will be this value. Because if I see this value, I know that the user just do not fill the field. And I will also check if birth date is lesser or equal the now date. Now here are our fields, and let's specify that primary key is the customer ID. Now we have a table with a lot of constraints that must be respected to every row that must be inserted. Let's check it now. Okay, so let's try to insert into customers. As I said, customer ID we do not need to provide here because the Postgres will provide it to me. Name, email, and I will leave blank the birth date to check the default constraint. Values, Felipe@gmail.com. Okay, let's try to insert this one. Okay, this works. Let's select all from customers and see if our default value is here. So the default value worked. And now let's check the unique constraint. Felipe 2 with the same email. Now we've got an error. Detail key email already exists. Failed by the unique constraint. So that's good. It should fail because, as I said, we don't want repeated emails in this table. And let's try now. Check the not null constraints in the name. Let's not provide a name. Felipe 2, 3. Let's just insert this Felipe 2. Now it works because it's a different email. And let's try insert without the name value. We also fail because name violates the not null constraint. So this will not work. And let's check the check constraint. Let's put a date higher than L. So just copy this. Felipe 4 for birth date. 2025 1st March. And try to insert. Okay, it failed again because the check constraint worked. And now let's see how is our table customers. We have 2 rows with the customer auto-filled by Postgres. The names are Felipe, Felipe 2, the emails, and the birth dates. That's in this case we left in blank, so it filled with the default value. So that's how the constraint works. It will give a much more confident tables that will work following rules. And that's it for this video. I appreciate your time, and remember, always check the constraint that you must follow in the rules of the business. Okay, I appreciate it for your time, and until the next video.